the voting, how it went, I see the voters looked at the parties, not necessarily about individuals.
Okay.
Maybe there's some individuals that were in different parties, that maybe were even in smaller parties, but they were not able to be voted in. So the voters looked at which party they were coming from. They just voted for parties, notwithstanding the candidate.
Okay.
Yeah, and their qualities.
Right.
Yeah, I don't think voters looked at the qualities of the candidates. They looked at the parties.
Okay. And your opinion?
My opinion was, what I can say is just to repeat the same thing we used to have with the same election tumekuwa nazo.
Yeah.
Tukuangalia quality of leader. Watu wamekimbia kwa chama.
Right.
If tulikuwa tunaangalia quality, I think kulikuwa na good candidate. Watu wangechagua kutoka kwa hizo mitaa, hata wangetoka independent. Lakini if you look like UDA, chama tu imekuja juzi.
Right.
But if there is that competition in between parties and parties, unapata hizi vitu watu waangalii quality ya leaders, wanaangalia zile chama zinakaa. Na inakuambia the next one year, 18 months to come,
right,
watu watakuwa wanaangalia nini? Because we are just repeating the same we tulifanya last time, 2017, 2013.
When you look at the parties that won these by-elections,
right,
you go to Kemukama Ward, where we had fielded, our party had fielded a candidate. ODM won. Our party candidate became number 2.
And just to be clear, what is your party?
Our party is a Party of Economic Democracy. Yeah, our candidate was number 2. When you go to Matungu, it's ANC that won.
Right.
When you go to Kabuchai, it's Fort Kenya that won.
Yeah.
And when you look, even the voting patterns from there before even 2017, you look at Matungu, that is say an ANC stronghold. When you go to Kabuchai, that is a Fort Kenya stronghold. When you come to Nakuru, London Ward, where UDA won. Okay, UDA is a new party that has come now. I think they're trying to set a foothold. I think they did well there. Or I don't know. When you go to Hell's Gate, Jubilee won. So, I don't know why people in whatever Hell's Gate voted for the Jubilee candidate. I also don't know why the people in London Ward voted for the older candidate. But I honestly think that it's because of the parties, not because of the individuals. So as we go ahead, we are seeing Kenya is divided alongside parties. It's alongside parties. And these parties are being influenced by forces that are behind them. There are forces that are pushing them. Like you see, what went on during the campaign. There was a tussle between ODM and ANC in Matungu.
Yes, there was.
Yeah, before, when elections were beginning in the morning, there was a tussle in Kemukama Ward. I was there on the ground, trying to push for our candidate. Doing at least, I was an agent for our candidate, going around, a chief agent. So I saw people trying to fight. But it went on peacefully, but we are hoping in future that things are going to change.
But I feel that is democracy. People are fighting for their space. You see, like Matungu constituency, the residents felt that ODM wants to penetrate in our bedroom, and they refuse people to penetrate in Kibera. So you feel that the residents felt that our political party selected the best candidate for us, and we cannot fail our party because we have the best candidate. Unlike in Msambweni by-election, we saw an independent candidate winning it. People there expressed their express their will. No matter how much the government tried maybe to influence the other political party leaders, trying to influence, but the people stood by the candidate that they felt was right for them. So personally, I feel Kenyans are more willing to exercise their right in the ballot and not ready to be bullied by who is stronger than who.
You have brought in an interesting view of democracy.
Yes.
We are people here on the ground, the citizens, we complain about being foul played by the government, while yet, as you have said, people are buying into their household parties that have been reigning within the constituencies, ward, or the zones. So is it unto us, we elect these people without necessarily looking at their selling qualities, but because of the party they are from? So how do we move from becoming people who are sold to the parties rather than what people are selling and afterwards complaining about it? How do we change this, the usual thing that we do all the time as citizens?
I think kuna kitu tunafaa tufanye kama Kenyans. If you look very well, competition sahi at the moment ile iko na itakuwa 2022. Ukiangalia the by elections zenye zimefanyika right now. Ukiangalia itakuwa parties. Sasa hapa ni competition ya between parties, not leaders. Because if, let's say, like in mlango kubwa ward, UDA came and say tunapatia mtu fulani certificate, ana willing ya watu pale. Lakini juu watu wako focus kwa party, hiyo ndio wataenda. I think ile kitu tuko nayo, kuna kitu tu tunafaa to change kama Kenyans. Tuache kudrive na wale leaders wetu, to change characters, to change kufuata tu leaders ati wakituwekea mtu yote juu at the moment watatuwekea na watazidi kutuwekea, tutakuwa tuna complain leadership si nzuri. Yeah.
What happens is especially during by elections, you see the interested parties pump in a lot of money. I actually went around places where there were by-elections, and I realized these big parties were spending a lot of money. You can imagine in a ward, and you're seeing a lot of money was being spent. I think even you saw videos going around, people being offered money. And you see these people, especially the ones who have resources, they take advantage of the poverty of Kenyans. They take advantage of it, and then now they give them money. They use money to influence how they vote. So that pattern is being influenced by resources, the party that has the resources. So people end up not looking at the individual, whether he will deliver or not.
I think I have a different view as per the pattern of voting, because we elect the leaders that represent us at the end of the day. So if I am bought by money, then that's who I am. So that's the leader I believe in, if I vote for him. But if I get his money and not vote for him, vote for another leader, then the leader I voted for is the leader that I believe in. He represents what I believe in, and I buy into his ideologies. So I think it's Kenyans, we are used to always wanting to complain, but we're always given the opportunity to elect. However, sometimes the political scenes are not very fair, but to some extent we are given the chance to elect the leaders that we want to. But most of the time, as my friend has said, we are bought by money. But once you agree to be bought by that money, then that is the ideology that you want to be governed by. But if you don't want to go that direction, there's always an option. There's a leader who presents good qualities, but is not financially stable, is not able to give handouts, you can still elect him. On the issue of parties, I feel that Kenyans are getting more enlightened because we have several MCs and MPs who are elected on independent tickets. Why? And yet there are big parties that they won against. So you find Kenyans really know what they want, and in scenario that they elect a leader who has more money, then that's the leader they want. Because you'll find others, citizens will say that we want to elect somebody who has money so that he cannot steal from us. Other than electing somebody who is not financially stable to go and empower himself and his family. Then us will come later. So there are several angles to look at it.
The other thing I wanted to speak about is the role of the state, and especially the security agencies in this past by-election. You notice this is the pandemic period and we have the curfew.
Right.
I noticed, because I was on the ground, there are some aspirants that were given a free hand to operate during the night by security agencies. Actually, policemen were going around arresting other people's agents, but others were given a free way to go around. So that was unfair. And then again, when it came to the election day, some even aspirants were elected wherever they were arrested. And I thought that was unfair. I think the security agencies or somebody in government was trying to influence the outcome. And I thought it's actually an election illegality. Or somebody was trying to influence so that the election goes in a particular way, so that it shapes whatever perception towards what he wanted.
So what you meant to say, it's not necessarily the people's choice that is being put out there.
Yes, you can imagine on an election morning, if he's, for example, as an aspirant, a security agencies come and they arrest him, and they accuse him of funny accusations. And I saw somebody being arrested. He was in his car. I witnessed it. He was in his car. The policeman came and broke his car window and threw tear gas canister inside. And he was just on the road passing. They were just suspecting him that he was going to rig elections or he was going to bribe people. So I think also the security agencies came in, and that was unfair. And maybe we should come up with ways in which we should come up with security, or we should involve all the aspirants in planning security so that it doesn't favor one aspirant.
Right, and that goes to the IABC, considering they run the elections. I want to switch this talk up a little bit, this discussion a little bit. Recently, just lately, onto the Wajir County, the son to the late Senator Yusuf Haji has been selected, proposed as the senator to come. And we have been looking to we are fighting dynasties. We have been coming against dynasties. Don't you think this is one thing that actually influences the upcoming of dynasties and then eventually come fight against this? So is Kenya now running a successorship democracy, or what is at play at this moment? Yes.
Personally, I'm not against it because leaders are born. And for example, I want to give an example with sports.
Yeah.
If you come from a family that plays football, if your father was a footballer, the chances of that family bringing up another footballer are very high. Same with basketball, volleyball, athletics. It's generic. So for the son of the late Yusuf Haji to be proposed by the elders to succeed his father. Maybe they saw qualities in him of a leader. Because personally, I don't know his past. I don't know what he has been doing back there. But for the elders to select him, there's something they saw. I think we should give the residents the chance. If they have also seen the leadership qualities in him, they will elect him. If they have not seen, then give the other candidate. We saw in Makueni, when the late Mutula Kilonzo the senior passed on. Mutula Kilonzo Jr. took the mantle, and so far is ranked among the best senators in our Senate. So I think the issue of dynasties is neither here nor there.
I think I have a different opinion that because this country belongs to all of us, and each one of us should be given an opportunity to be able to present their views and their manifesto, so that everybody should be listened to.
Right.
I think the elders, it was wrong for the elders to choose Haji, the son of Haji. It is very wrong. What the elders should have done is to call everybody who was interested, to call them and interview them. So far, we've not heard whether the elders called everyone who is interested in the seat to interview them. They just endorsed somebody out of the blues. I mean, out of the forest. Yeah? People don't know him, apart from him being a son of a former senator. Who is he? Nobody knows him. So the elders, that was very wrong, extremely wrong. And I think it's unfair for the other aspirants. I wish that the people of that country should consider everybody who will present their papers. Everybody who comes to aspire, who presents papers to IEBC, everybody will be cleared, should be given an opportunity to be listened to. All the women of that county, all the youth who have whatever aspirations should be given that opportunity. But not that because somebody is a son of a, then that is a quality. That one has never been a quality. Everybody knows that we should look at the individual.
But I want to ask you a question. May I?
Before you ask your question, please just allow me to give his point before you ask your question.
I think elders, if you look Haji personally, ukiangalia alianza leadership akianza wapi from scratch na mali amekufa akiwa. Kuna kitu watu waliona, the elders, they saw something in this kijana. Cause sioni ni sababu gani unaweza nyima kijana opportunity na yeye amesema hawezi. Ni kumpatia tu, anampatia opportunity. Na ukiangalia ile time tuko nayo, ile time anaweza lead hiyo counties akiwa senator is a short time. Huyu kijana apatiwe tu time. Tuangalie huyu kijana anaweza kuwa na ile leadership ya babake. Elders ni nini wameona ambayo hawajaona kwa watu wengine. Na the good thing about this, hawajafungia watu wengine ati wewe uwezi simama, uwezi simama ama nini. Tuto ile ati juu familia fulani wamekuwa na kiongozi, ati juu babako alikuwa kitu fulani, babako ndio alikuwa hospitalia hapa, wewe uwezi kuwa hata OCS. OCS ati juu babako alikuwa hospitalia. Hii dunia ni opportunities, tunakupatia hiyo opportunities, tuone hiyo opportunities na unaweza tufanyia nini. At least kijana akona fresh mind kuliko sasa hata babake, isipokuwa labda babake alikuwa ameona ngambani kuliko kijana. Lakini mimi ukiniuliza kama anaweza follow steps za babake, kijana atapeleka hiyo, ataenda mbali sana. Juu za soba ni kijana ametulia, unjamsikia kwa siasa, nadhani ana hizo stories za siasa sana, lakini with time tunaweza mshape na ule akiwa leader poa. At least kwa wale politician tunasemaga tunaweza pata one of the watu wana ile mind ya kuwa politician.
Right. And on to you, before you ask your question, I want to ask the both of you, doesn't that set a an unfairness to that person who could probably have the qualities, probably better than the one who has been endorsed? Does that set that person at an unfair position or at a disadvantage because there is no one to give him that endorsement? And you can ask your question.
Actually, this is what I wanted to say. By the elders giving an endorsement, the elders don't own a political party.
Yes, they don't.
The elders don't block voters from electing the one they feel like they want him to or her to represent them. The space is open for everyone to run. But as the old was there, they sat down. I know just 1 or 2 or 3 people was there who sat and felt that this is our right candidate. It's just like the way in the grassroots we can sit as youths, vijana wa mtaa, and we decide, we feel that so and so is the right candidate for us. And we call a press conference and say this is the preferred candidate for us. We have not nominated you. We have not yet elected you. So we are not barring anyone from vying. But if we feel that we have the influence to support our candidate, and if we talk, other people will listen and give the backup to the candidate that we support, then we are right. We are within our democracy space. We are not fighting anyone. So what the Wazir did sets the pace for other aspirants, because a county has very many Wazirs. Right?
Right, it does.
It has women leaders. It has youth leaders. Any group can come up with a candidate and package him or her and present to the people. Let it be an ideological campaign after that. And we see who comes out victorious. It doesn't mean by Wazir endorsing him, he will even win the nomination ticket. It's not an outright win. You saw even in the case of Mutula Kilonzo Jr., there was a lot of competition. Wazir from Kambani, Makueni wanted him to be given a direct ticket by Wiper. But people within Wiper opted for a nomination. They went for a nomination. He won, meaning people bought into the idea of him being nominated. He has not disappointed them so far. I think everyone can bear that witness. He's among the best senators. So I feel the debate of dynasties and the other people is not, we are not getting it right. Because it doesn't mean if I come from a family that has a background in politics, that I don't have the right to be in politics. That's also unfair to me. It doesn't also mean that if he's not born from a family that has a background in politics, he doesn't have the right to vie. We have very many leaders who are first-timers and they were nobodies. But they sold their ideologies to the people and people bought those ideas and they elected him. We have, for example, the MP from Meru. Which constituency is this? The youngest MP. He was a nobody. He won against very many big whips of the region to become the MP. I remember he was even congratulated by Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta, the president, because he beat all odds to become the MP. So I personally don't believe in this dynasty war that is going on. It's taking our country to the dogs.
You know, you've given an example of Mutula Kilonzo Jr.
Junior, yes.
And I think you're wrong. Because that chance was belonging to the sister, if you remember.
Yes.
Mutula Kilonzo Jr. came in because the sister was not a registered voter. If you remember, there was a
I remember the case.
And then now Mutula Kilonzo Jr. came. Can you imagine that? You were actually, I think, maybe it's a contradiction, I'll say.
It's not, because let me say one thing.
If the sister
Kate Kilonzo was also not in politics.
Look, just a minute. I give you a minute.
They were both not in politics.
The sister had already been endorsed. And the best was the brother, who you've said he's the best whatever senator. He has been the best senator. I agree.
Among the best.
Now, the sister had been given the ticket and he had been endorsed. So there was another person in the family who was even better. You get my point? That is what I'm trying to say is trying to happen in wherever the Haji, whatever family.
So you are supporting what we are saying.
So what we are saying is that the elders should not lock any potential person who can be even better than the person they've endorsed. Everybody, I think elders in a community should be fair to everyone. We agree that elders are our fathers and our grandfathers. They know us. They've raised us up. So they should be able to give us an opportunity to be able, wherever, to exercise our leadership skills. I know for sure, the reason why they endorsed Haji's son, it's because he's Haji's son. There's no any other reason. There's no any other. They've not given us a reason.
But why are you contradicting yourself? You personally have said that Kate Kilonzo was the first choice. So meaning the elders had seen something in her and she failed. And they again proposed, let me finish. Again they proposed the small brother. He has come out to be amongst the top senators in our country. So basically was they all right?
No, I was comparing the two. They didn't give the other one the opportunity. Initially they had given Kathy the opportunity. The first time. Actually, they even went to court to defend the case. Meaning,
the case is still in court.
Maybe it's still in court up to now. Meaning, even Mutula Kilonzo Jr. was going to be locked out. I want to, wherever, use that example to what is happening in Wajir County. Yeah. So let everybody be, maybe even after this endorsement that has been done, there's a young man, wherever, a young woman out there. There's a woman out there who can make a good leader.
I think ile kitu mimi najua hakuna mtu amefungiwa hawezi simama. Ni watu wa Wajir. They have their own, the last word. Si kusema ati juu wazee wamesema. Already watu wataenda kwa election na watu watavote. Hivyo wanaona kijana wa mzee hawezi, wataelect mtu mwingine tofauti na kijana wa mzee. Na nothing, hiyo ni democracy. Si ati wazee wakisema imemaanisha hizo ndio vitu zitakuwa juu. Kuna process. Ndio kwa senator kuna ile process. Lazima tuende kwa election na hivi na hivi. Mimi ile tunaweza taka tufunge hapa kwa hii debate. Ni tuache kusema juu ni mtoto wa nani na mimi ni mtoto wa mtu wajulikani, ati wewe juu umepatiwa hiyo opportunity ni juu babako alikuwa so and so. Pana uwezekano mtoto wa so and so anaweza kuwa better than hata babake. Na wewe mtoto wa mwenye umetoka huku chini unaweza kuwa leader hata kuliko wenye walikuwa pale mbele walikuwa na majina kubwa. Ni tutoe tu hiyo mentality hiyo tukuje tuseme huyu anaweza kuwa leader, yes. Tusiangalie familia yake. Juu kesho ujue utakuwa nani. Unaweza kuwa president. Mtoto wako siku nyingine ukisimama ukiwa president.
Utaja president nikakumbuka what happened in 2007.
Yes, unaget mtoto wako ana ile nini inaweza fanya siku president na kuna qualities. Tuache kuangalia hizi ati wewe ni mtoto wa nani. Yani tuto hiyo story itusaidie kwa nje. Kama sasa tukiingia kwa mitaa unapata vijana wamekaa wanasema wewe uko sawa. Uko na chapa. Unasikia vijana wanakuja na kuambia turidhikie. Na eti wewe au kuridhikiwa. You work hard ukafika mahali umefika. Tunataka tu hizo mentality tuonyeshe watu ndio ufike pale lazima utumie njia fulani ndio uende. Juu wakifanya hivyo mimi kesho sijui nitakuwa nani. Hata sijui ni nini inaweza happen. Mtoto wangu na atakuwa na shida inakaaje. Yaani tuache kuangalia vitu zinaweza jirudia baadaye na zitukost sisi kama nchi. Unaweza kosa kuchagua mtoto wa ati juu Moi alikuwa president ukataka kumpatia hiyo opportunity ati juu babake alikuwa president na alitulead vibaya sana kwa hii nchi. Upate huyo mtu yeye anaweza kuwa mpoa hata kuliko babake. Juu tuko kwa dunia nyingine, a different country. Sasa hizi zile enzi za kina Moi, sasa tunaongea vitu tofauti sana na zenye walikuwa wanaongea. Mwingine sasa tunaongea mashamba za kununua mashamba huko kwa hii dunia. Mwingine anatafuta space huko juu. Tushatoka kwa kununua. Unaget? Ni vitu tu zinaenda tu zikichange.
Actually debate inanikumbusha tu. When Moi endorse Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta, what happened next? The same debate we have here, dynasties. Ilianza hiyo time. And people bought into the idea. And we voted in Kibaki Tosha. 10 years down the line, Kenyans went to the ballot and elected Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta as the president of this country.
And I have a question before you continue. Isn't this endorsement a blinding virtue or a blinding thing? Kwa sababu you'll bring, for example, the example you've given, Moi and Uhuru, right?
Yes.
And tuko fixated as citizens. Someone has been endorsed, and now we are fixated on this person. We don't see anyone else other than this person who has been brought in. Yes, we are the people at Ukuchini, the people voting to decide this person who has been endorsed. But doesn't that take our focus? Yes, it is none of whoever is endorsing problem, but doesn't that take our focus from the potentials, from the people who would be holding? We've just started to talk about parties, people looking at parties rather than individuals. Doesn't that take away the focus from the main thing, which we should be looking at?
But that is what politics is. In America, they have the Democrats and the Republicans. Those are political parties, political vehicles. Barack Obama endorsed the current president, Joe Biden. Why was that? And he ended up being elected as the preferred candidate for their political party.
Right.
So Kenya is not any different. We have ODM, we have Jubilee, we have UDA. UDA is trying to fight for its political space, which they are doing good. We have Wiper. Wiper, they are also battling it out in Machakos senatorial by-election. If UDA wins, they are getting their roots deeper as becoming a national political party. So those are political spaces that political parties need to fight for. So that the next time if we stamp our authority as a political party, if we endorse a candidate, we are sure we are getting that seat. And that is the purpose of a political party. The more seats you get, the higher bargaining you have for your people who voted for your preferred candidates.
And that goes to a political party. So what benefits the elders?
Political parties have party members who at the end of the day participate in electing that candidate to become a flag bearer.
Right.
But I feel in our country where we've not done so well is in political party membership. Because we've opened so much the political parties that even members of another political party can come into your nominations and elect for your candidate. Whereas I feel that if I'm in Wiper, a Wiper member, it's us as members of Wiper who should elect our candidate to battle it out with other aspirants. But in our country, Wiper nominates people, residents present their papers to the political party, and then the political party throws it out for everyone to elect. So personally, I don't feel if it's right, because then there is it beats the purpose of having party memberships. Yes.
On endorsement, you are specifically on endorsement.
Right.
This one is unique because it came from the elders of the community. And you know the role community elders play. They hold some influence within the community members. It's something that we cannot run away from. That community elders, people listen to community elders. Actually, they are the ones. When we look at the African setup, before even the colonial, this government, these governments were formed by the colonial master when we came around. Back in the day, before the colonial masters came, it is community elders that used to sit down and decide on what happens. So that is like making a decision on behalf of the community. That the community has decided it is so. When we look at it from the African socialization, now, that is why I'm calling it unfair. Looking at the influence of the community leaders, wherever hold, you can't compare that to Barack Obama, a former president. These are community elders in Africa. In the West, they do it differently. Actually, I think this politics of endorsement, we are trying to borrow it from, it's a Western world culture. Let everybody get the opportunity to vie and become a leader. I think that is the best democracy that we can practice as Kenyans. Let everybody be given the opportunity, wherever they come from, whether their fathers were nobodies, and you say we shouldn't talk about it, but unfortunately, we are seeing it happening. When it's practiced against some people, sometimes it's overlooked, but it's being done. So we should speak about it so that even everybody should live about it. Even those ones who come from well-to-do families should not practice it too, so that we look at each other as equal Kenyans. I think that will be the best whatever democracy. Kenya is a young democracy. We're trying to come up with ways in which the best way we can manage our elections. And I think as we go on, we will be able to come up with a best way possible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And speaking of not putting it out to the people to choose the person who they feel is worth the seat or is worth being the leader. So this takes us down to what are the rules? Do you think the rules for vying, the set guidelines for probably vying for that particular seat that someone is looking for, do you think that those rules are valid, are regarded by each and every party and aspirants? Do you think it cuts off some other people, or do they cut across every person and individual and does not disqualify some people who would fit the position? Yes, Danny.
If you look, tukiangalia parties zetu hapa kwa nchi, hakuna demokrasi. Ati unaweza kusema chama fulani ule candidate wananchi wanataka, mara nyingi ndio wanapatia that opportunity. Unapata party iko na mtu wake ule wana interest na yeye. Mtu ataweza kucontrol. Wanaweza mwambia hivi ndio vitu tunataka zifanyike na hivi na hivi. Lakini party ile kitu zinafanya party za Kenya ni biashara iko nyingi sana. Sasa ukiangalia watu wengi wanatengeneza hizo chama. Usidanganye ni kitu kingine. Ni mtu anataka party yake iitwe, mwingine yake iitwe, kuje tukayapa kwa meza, wewe chukua yako, wewe chukua yako, wewe chukua yako. Zinarudi zinaletwa pamoja. After election, vitu zikisha happen, ikishachukua serikali, kila mtu ende kivyake. Sasa hizi party zetu hazitusaidii. Juu hazileti ile willing ya wananchi. Kama kuja kwa mtaa yangu unapata huyu ndio mtu wangu, huyu ndio mwananchi wanataka. Juana ile uwezo ya kuweza kufight kwa hiyo nomination. Juana pesa hawezi patia polisi, hawezi patia noko kwa chama, hawezi fanya nini. Jua kuna influence huko, unapata huyo mtu anamalizwa. Na ndio utapata tutakuwa tu tukirudia the same problem. Tutakuwa nazo kwa nchi. Unapata mtu wako nje, lakini zile ideas zako nazo anaweza leta area yake pamoja, anaweza develop hiyo area pande economy, anaweza saidia watu. Huyo mtu amekuwa nje. Kwa hivyo mahali popote anaweza enda kutolea sauti, anatoa tu sauti hapo tu nyinyi mko. Mahali tu mko. lakini mali anaenda atoe hiyo sauti na ifanye kitu isaidie watu kwa mtaa, alifungiwa kitambo na hawezi. Huyu mwingine yeye anajua hapa nililetwa juu ya biashara zangu. Kuna watu wanajua hapa mimi nitatumia 1 million, 2 million. Niingie na hii chama alafu watani elect. Problem hapa nothing, tuko tuna shida tu. Tukianzia tu kwa mwananchi kwa the same chama.
Ni ukweli vile amesema. What he has said is the truth. That the way we run our party primaries, I think we've not come up. I think maybe we can blame the parties or we can blame capacity, because when I look at party primaries, you know, party primaries run on a single day. You can imagine a party conducting nominations countrywide, and these parties don't have money. I come from a party that was registered recently. We received our certificate recently in March, and he's trying to say that we are doing it because not because of that reason. We registered because we've realized the parties in this country belong to individuals. So we wanted to come up with a party that is people-centered, a party that is owned by the people. So coming back to party primaries, I'll say that parties don't have capacity. We were trying to propose a law so that IBC, because it's state-funded, can be able to help parties to conduct party primaries. Because parties themselves don't have the capacity. You know, you ask IBC, they'll tell you running an election countrywide will cost billions of shillings. These parties that are running primaries don't have those billions. So that is why they end up being compromised. Even the election officials that are chosen to conduct those whatever primaries, because maybe even the parties does not have money to pay them, they end up being paid by those people, the aspirants themselves. So those aspirants who pay them end up influencing who is winning those whatever primaries. So in future, it's something that can be considered. He has raised a very good point. A government can consider so that it can help parties through IEBC so that they can conduct the primaries.
Well, personally, I feel that a party is a members club affair, and the state has no business. It's like a federation. A federation, once you register an institution, you run your affairs, and there are laws that govern those activities that you do. So, personally, I feel...
on request.
It's on request.
Yes.
But remember, under the Political Parties Act, political parties are funded depending on how you perform in the general election. And what is the purpose of that fund? It is to establish the party and to grow the party nationally. And for you to request IEBC to do your primaries, there is a fee. And that is the fee that political parties are not able to pay. Like in 2017 ODM nominations, they chose not to do all of them at once. They divided because of the capacity. They were not able, they came out to the public and said they are not able to do them at once. And I think that is the idea that parties should buy. We have a period before you present your papers to your candidates to the IEBC for the general election, those that have been nominated. So I think political parties should work within that space and do their primaries. Maybe combine 2 counties, within a week you do your nominations. But once they choose, where we go wrong is we decide to do them like general election. So it becomes chaos. Even the Board of Appeals has no time to hear the appeals. if you hear the appeal, there's no time to do another nomination in that specific area. So it becomes chaos. And parties have to beat that deadline that is set by the IEBC or you'll be locked out. Because after that, there's no way out. So I feel like you have a political party, that is the way to go. Find that space, work within it. It's normally around, I think, 2 months after they have declared all positions vacant. People go to nominations. So if political parties use those timelines well, they'll do good. But what we see, political parties choose to do it maybe 3 days to the deadline so that they don't want the other political party to do the nomination after them, and then the candidate that fell in their area and feel that it was unfair runs to that other political party. So there's that game that political parties play in the political space, and that's what makes it hard to have free and fair elections. But if we follow the Elections Act to the letter, you are not supposed to, if you vie in this nomination, you are not supposed to go and vie in another nomination for another political party, or you are not supposed to change or even go vie independently. So I think also IEBC should tighten up those loose nuts, and then everything will run smoothly.
Interesting. Well, as we come to the conclusion of this discussion, and as we are also looking forward to the elections in 2022, a good number of mentions has come towards the mwananchi, the citizens. How do we become people who do not make poor choices in the future? How do we deal with this choice of a leader, a national leader, that we won't come back to complain about? In a minute each, and as we conclude, we'll start with Benny.
Mi nafikiri ni swali si ngumu na si rahisi juu kuchange character ya watu na kujua leader mzuri, kuna mjumbe wake wa ofisi, kujua leader yako na maoni, unaweza tu mjua akiwa kwa ofisi. Kama hajafika kwa ofisi huwezi mjua. Juu watu wengi wana pretend. Mimi nataka kiti sahihi, naweza fanya kitu yote, naweza juu na feel labda niko na hii pesa kusimama, naweza baia vijana mtaani majezi za ball, naweza walipia ligi, naweza patia mama vitu za kufanya job, naweza patia wazee shughuli yao, juu kuna ile kitu nataka kwao. Lakini after that sijui ni sielewi what happened. Ukishaingia kwa bunge ni kama kuna culture ya watu tusiwasaidia hii kiwango. Watu hizi vitu tusifikishe hapa, tufikishe kwa hii kiwango. Watu ukiwasaidia sana, hiyo siku nyingine utakaa watakuitisha nyingi kuliko yenye umewapatia sasa hivi. Sasa panakuwa na ile fear. Sijui ni culture, I don't know what happened. But ukishakaa chini na mtu kama hajaingia kwa kiti, anakupeleka hadi heaven. Anakuonyesha heaven kuna kaa hivi, tutachange hii, mtaikaa hivi, tutafanya hivi. Kama sasa hivi ukiuliza labda Sonko akichukua Nairobi, ulikuwa nadhani ya vitu ni rahisi. Lakini sasa zile alifika pale na kumkata siku moja akiambiwa na kidero, utaingia utaisikia uzito. I think ni time tuwapatie tu time. Lakini kujua kabla amjaweka mtu kwa ofisi, kujua is a good leader, an idea, anaweza help mtaa yetu hivi. I don't know what happened. Sijaielewa.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you for that.
The only thing I'll say that most of these people who are elected, we know them. Some of them have grown up with them in the same neighborhood. These are people we know, and we know their strength. Most of the times, voters are influenced because of money. I told you, because if Kenyans can be able to hide their poverty, and they are able to sacrifice during that time, so that they can be able to be sober at the ballot, then they can be able to choose the best leader. I can tell you, voters know out of the aspirants who is the best leader. But they end up choosing the wrong one because of the factors. They look at these factors, like we began discussing, the party who has more resources. Yeah, they look at those whatever things. They end up not looking at the qualities of the people that they are voting for. So Kenyans should be able to go back and reevaluate the way whatever we've been choosing our leaders.
Yes, as we conclude.
I would say what we need most, what I feel that the voter needs to know, it's simply the roles of an MCA, the roles of a member of parliament, the roles of a senator, and the roles of a governor, because those are people that touch on you directly. Voters tend to have over expectation, for example, with an MCA, simply because they don't know the roles of an MCA. For example, you know an MCA does not have a ward development fund, and you want the MCA to build an hospital, a dispensary, a school, an ECD, wants bursary for education, and you want the MCA to cater for every wedding, every matanga you have, every child birthday. So it becomes so much on the aspirant, then he opts to like pull back because the pressure is too much. So I think we should work on the voter education. One, the voter to know what are the roles of the elected individuals, and then they can start demanding for their rights with those guidelines. But once you go overboard, expecting the MCA, because even the salary of the MCA is too low, it cannot cater for every funeral that happens in that ward.
Yeah.
So I think for me, voter education will be the best thing to cure this disease.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much for joining us on this discussion today. It's been an honor to have all of you here. And to our viewers, that has been it for today. Don't forget to join us on our social media and also next week on Monday as we continue the show. I have been your host, Tonia Ngaiwa, and happy International Women's Day to all the women out there. Have a nice evening.